Hi, welcome to this Dental Town video about when should you put occlusion first. And that's a common question that we get asked, that I get asked when I'm teaching, when I'm talking about occlusion, when I'm down at the Pankey Institute. It's a question that we'll try to answer a little bit today, and we'll try to give you some insight and give you a little bit of a thought process and a decision-making matrix that you can use so that you'll know when you have to pay attention to occlusion and when it's less important. This is an overview, sort of an outline of what we're going to talk about briefly during the next hour. We're going to look at a few common cases in occlusion, and we're going to apply some basic occlusal principles to them and do some problem solution activities. We'll do those without thinking generally about occlusion, without thinking about how we apply occlusion, when we apply occlusion. Then we'll back up a little bit and say, now let's understand what role occlusion may play in a case. Of course, it may not play a role in a case, so that's what we really have to decide and think about. And then we'll figure out how to tell when does occlusion, because it's really, occlusion may play a role, and when it does, we should pay attention to it first. When it doesn't, we can probably treat the patient in maximum intercuspal position, and dentistry gets a whole lot simpler. So one of the keys for us is going to be successfully being able to navigate the minefield of when is occlusion going to jump up and bite us in the knee. And then finally, I'll give you an easy-to-utilize decision matrix that a good friend of mine, Gary DeWood, developed for us down at the Pankey Institute a number of years ago. It should be kind of a fun journey for us today. Let's go ahead and start. This is a picture of Archimedes. You may remember Archimedes was a Greek mathematician, and he said this really famous statement. And it was all about physics. It was all about levers. It was all about leveraging things. It was all about the mechanics of his world. And he said, if you give me a lever long enough and a place to stand, I can move the earth. And what he said, as ridiculous as it sounds, what he said is true.